Hello everybody, and welcome to Getting Started with Rival Wings. In this guide, we're going to be talking about a couple things, like the mechs, we're going to be talking about the lanes, and just general tips and tricks that we've learned by playing so many matches so far within this mode. The reason you want to do this is that the XP rewards are actually quite substantial, and the content's fun and engaging. So with that, let's go ahead and just dive in, and let's have some fun. Rival Wings is the new PvP mode that was introduced in patch 4.15. In it, two teams of 24 each, totaling 48 players, fight to take down towers and eventually the core for the win. This is essentially Final Fantasy XIV's version of a MOBA. If you're a fan of MOBAs, this really should feel at home, and even if you're not and you haven't tried it, I would highly encourage you to check it out. So like I said in the intro, there are 3 lanes, north, south, and mid. Each lane has one of your towers as well as one of the opposing team's towers. Now, in the midsection on the top, because there are 2 layers to this, so there's up and down, and the top part of it is the power converter, but below you have caves, and there are various Sirillium tanks that will spawn both outside and around the cave, but there's a lot of Sirillium tanks that spawn within the cave itself. Typically, there's a group that likes to rush this because you can farm a lot of CE for your party very quickly. CE, Sirillium, is essentially used to summon mechs, and mechs are used to either take out other players or towers themselves. Each team can have one of each mech summoned, for the most part. Sirillium is also used to refill your mechs. Now, mechs can't heal, towers cannot heal in this mode, so the best thing to do is either prevent damage or, obviously not take it in the first place. But you have a resource, fuel basically, that you will run out of. And if you run out of fuel as a mech, even if you have all life, you can't do anything. So you need also CE to refill your mech in that regards. Now within the cave at the bottom, there is a nice big, hole that's that players can kind of, pick on you from within here. You can also use this hole to jump down from the top to the bottom and again farm these Sirillium tanks. You're going to be capped at 100 Sirillium. So once you're at 100, there's no value in gathering it. So you want to make sure that your party is summoning and using these mechs. So the first real big tip is don't be afraid to mech up. You're going to really have a good and fun time with each mech. So let's go ahead and talk about the 3 mechs. You've got Cruise Chaser, which is really good against other players. Not so good against structures, but you know what? It is what it is. The Oppressor. This is very slow, and so bring friends to protect you. But at the end of the day, this thing will wreck towers. This will wreck any kind of structure, especially with that 30,000 ton missile that you have access to. It's got a long cooldown, but if you're left unchecked, you can really bring down towers really quickly. And same thing goes for the core. Again, the downside is you're very slow. So like I said, I recommend bringing friends because you're not going to really be able to do a lot of damage to players. You'll see players scatter, especially if you try to drop a missile, but it's not going to do a ton of damage. It does do damage, so there's no reason not to use it if there's no way that you're going to get to a tower, but it is what it is. Another thing when using a mech is that it is advisable to eject early, especially if you're in a losing situation and you're about to be destroyed. I've often found that by the time I'm hitting the eject button, I guess with animation or whatever, it doesn't necessarily seem to clear quickly, so I've found more often than not that I am killed, unfortunately, when using a mech itself, because I'm not able to eject in time. So there is that kind of give and take, because sometimes you feel like, oh, you can make it, you can last longer, but it goes from there. So I said about the towers, you can't heal them, but you can still be healed within them. Each of your towers represented by your color, either red or blue. If you're standing within that zone, you're constantly going to get healed, and the enemy is going to be attacked. So there's a benefit, there's a tower defense buff that you get when standing in these circles. Once your towers go down, you have a couple of options. You need to defend the core or need to try to bring down the opposing team's core as quickly as possible. The winning team is the one who destroys the core, or when time runs out, who has the most life left in their core together. You are not able to attack the core until both towers are down. So how do you take out towers the most efficient way? Obviously it's using the oppressor, but make sure that you're taking out the minions. If you're not in a mech and you're moving along, your base is constantly going to be launching minions to the opposing team's tower. They are also going to be doing the same. So if there are no opposing players to attack the minions so that yours can continue to get further and further. Upon reaching the tower or the core, they explode for a lot of damage. So your oppressors and your minions are going to be a way that you can help output a lot of damage on the opposing team's tower. but that does take skill and coordination with the two groups. Okay, so now for some more general tips. You have 2 cannons at the start of your base. These things wreck, and they fire fast. More often than not, if you go mid and you rush up to the opposing team's core from the mid, if the opposing team is manning the cannons, you're gonna get hurt. Even when on a mount, they're able to hit you pretty easily. These cannons can also wreck your mechs. So use these cannons. It's a great line of defense, especially if things are getting close. You can knock out other opposing players or their mechs. In your UI, you have some information that you really need to be aware of. Soaring is about the both increases and decreases, and on the field you can see anybody who's got this buff. Killing people with that buff allows you to kind of almost steal it for your own. So you'll see stacks of soaring increase as well as decrease. So you'll see it overall. Now it has a positive effect on your entire party. The other thing you'll see is the Sirillium supply for each of your alliances. Now I said that each alliance is capped out on 100, but each has their own supply. So it's not shared for the entire raid, basically. It is individualized. This will help if you run into any new players who might be just sitting on 100 CE and never summoning a mech. You want to make sure you have your mechs supplied and out. On the right hand side, you can kind of see my party. You see your team CE, as well as you see the various mechs that are summoned for your entire alliance raid. You can also see the opposing team if they have any mechs summoned. This is really important if you find yourself taking out both towers and if then the opposing team is bringing out Brute Justice. If you see Brute Justice, this is the mech that you want to kill as quickly as possible. He is powerful. He's good against both the towers and against other players. The opposing team can only have 2 and only call them out once a tower has gone down. So if Tower A has gone down, they can summon Brute Justice 1 time. If Tower B has gone down, they can summon him 2 times for a maximum of 2 times. So it's not that you're going to constantly be having to fight Brute Justices. So it's really important that, especially if you're winning and you're and you haven't even had the chance to summon either of yours yet, knock their Brute Justices out, so that way if they knock out one of your towers, you can use Brute Justice to really kind of attack their core and really kind of help crowd control. Another tip, don't be afraid to go CE farming. If you find yourself low on CE, go grab a couple of Sirillium tanks from the center. These feed you a 10 CE per tank, and they spawn really quickly. The only downside is, especially in that cave, you'll find that there are usually other teams that like to kind of go there as well. So bring friends. At its core, this is still a PvP game, but I think it's one of the best balanced versions of PvP that they've added in so far. Mechs really don't also work well against the various minions that you see running around, so it's better as a player to take them out. You can try to put out some damage, but it's really not as effective. Anyway, that wraps it up for me. For Work to Game, my name's Brian. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I really hope you dive in and enjoy this game type. It's very easy to get into and it's a lot of fun. Anyway, that wraps it up for me. For Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video, and let us know if you have any questions in the comments below. We'd be glad to help. But until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day, and take care. Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click here to subscribe, and here to maybe check out some more of our videos. So again, thanks for watching. We hope you like this video. We hope you subscribe and join our community. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we'll see you next time.